Today I'm going to show you how to convert a horoscope into a local space chart. Then I'm going to drop this local space chart onto a map of Melbourne to illustrate how I chose a time of birth for Melbourne. This is the horoscope for Melbourne. In the middle are the details. The third line from the bottom says Krishnamurti, which is the sidereal zodiac I use. The third line from the top is the date, 29th of August, 1835. This is the day that Faulkner's ship arrived at the waterfall. The settlers spent that night on the ship. The next day, Sunday, August the 30th, they unloaded the ship. The fourth line of detail says 10:35 a.m. local mean time. No one knows what the settlers were doing at this time. On the 29th, maybe this is the time the ship arrived at the waterfall. Or maybe on the 30th of August, this is the time they chose a site for a campfire. Regardless of what the settlers were doing, at 10:35 a.m. on the 29th, and around the same time the next day, Jupiter, Pluto and Saturn lined up with the mountains in Melbourne's skyline. To convert this horoscope into a local space chart, we make three transformations. Near the top of the horoscope it says capital M little c, 21 degrees Cancer, 21 minutes. Remember, sidereal zodiac. The MC is the point on the ecliptic due north, except in the northern hemisphere it's due south. So we rotate the chart anti-clockwise to bring the MC to the top. See the ascendant, abbreviated capital A little s, on the left-hand side. The ascendant is in an easterly direction. That is the right-hand side of a map. So the second transformation is reflection. Now all the words and characters are back to front. And the ascendant is on the right-hand side. You may be surprised the ascendant is not due east, but the only time the ascendant is due east is when the equinox points are rising. Otherwise, the ascendant drifts up and down the eastern horizon in a 24-hour rhythm. In this picture, the ecliptic is lying flat on the ground when it should be rising up in the air on one side and sloping down below the horizon on the other. To represent this, we perform one more transformation, which squashes the circle like this. The higher the ecliptic rises into the sky, the more squashed the circle becomes. Now, the horoscope can be dropped onto a map. This is a map of Australia, compliments of Nations online project. Melbourne is down here in the southeastern corner. The island to the south is Tasmania. The white people who settled Melbourne came from Launceston in Tasmania. They moored their boat about 10 kilometres up the Yarra River at the waterfall. This is the hub of our local space map. The mountains which will decide Melbourne's time of birth are Mount Macedon, Flinders Peak, and Mount Donabuang. This is the local space chart for 10:34 a.m. on August the 30th. Mount Macedon is about 60 kilometres north-northeast of Melbourne CBD. The summit is 1,000 metres above sea level and can be seen from the CBD in clear conditions and a little elevation. On the western side, or the left-hand side, is a steep ramp. This video is taken from Gisborne railway station. It was late afternoon in early May. Of course, the mood of the mountain changes hour by hour. Close inspection of local space gives an accurate alignment with Jupiter. On August 29, Jupiter is 18 sidereal Gemini and 4 minutes. On August 30, Jupiter is 18 Gemini and 14 minutes. That's 10 minutes that it's moved from the 29th to the 30th. The Yuyangs are west-southwest of Melbourne. Flinders Peak is 350 metres high. The Yuyangs can be seen all the way across the other side of Port Phillip Bay from Rosebud and Dramana and Frankston. They rise abruptly out of a broad, flat plain. For August 29 and 30, Pluto's longitude is 23 sidereal Pisces and 4 minutes. The alignment to Flinders Peak is precise. Saturn's longitude changes by just 5 minutes of arc from the 29th to the 30th. Mount Donabuang is the highest peak on Melbourne's skyline. Saturn's alignment matches the summit of Mount Donabuang. Extend Saturn's alignment westward and it lines up with Westgate Bridge. Keep going and it cuts the coast at Portland. Portland was actually settled about 12 months before Melbourne. Portland was the first continuous settlement in Victoria. Also on the same longitude as Saturn at Melbourne's birth is the star Eta Carina. On the 29th it doesn't change longitude. Its longitude is 28 sidereal Virgo and 24 minutes. And Saturn would have been lined up with this precisely to the minute about 3 days before they got to the waterfall. The designation Eta means it is the 7th brightest star in the constellation Carina. It has a declination of 60 degrees south, which means it only rises low in the sky for people in the northern hemisphere, and not at all for people viewing above 30 degrees north latitude. I like this picture because it shows it in relation to the Southern Cross, which is easy to find in the Southern Hemisphere. But I haven't actually set eyes on this star yet. All of this makes the star Eta Carina quite ordinary. But this is no ordinary star. It is very far away, 7,500 light years. And it is super huge. If our sun were the size of a golf ball, Eta Carina would be the size of a caravan. And its luminosity is 4 million times that of our sun. Quite ridiculous data. In fact, its colossal dimensions make it unstable. And in 1841, it actually exploded. Sirius, which is the brightest star in the sky, is 8 light years from us. Eta Carina is nearly 1,000 times further away. And yet for a couple of years after it exploded, it shone nearly as brightly as Sirius. Is this significant? It is the research of Robert Powell into megastars that would suggest yes. Eta Carina may be the biggest star in our entire galaxy. That concludes this video. My first illustration of Melbourne's local space chart. I could talk about this for 24 hours straight. I've just introduced the topic using 3 planets and 3 mountains. I will share more in subsequent videos.